and welcome to the Crochet Junkie podcast. My name is Amber. Today is Tuesday, August 25th, and this is episode 10. I cannot believe that I've recorded a podcast 10 times, that I've stuck with it that long. I really do enjoy it. I'm blown away that people actually care enough about my crafts to watch what I have to say about them, what I have to say about our lives. I really enjoy kind of doing this video vlog of sorts. So thanks for joining me. Welcome. Thank you to all my new and returning viewers. If this is your first time joining me, I am Amber. I knit, crochet, and spin, though not as much spinning really at all. I'm new to knitting. I've only been knitting a few months, but I've been crocheting for close to 16 years now. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram as Crochet Junkie, also on Pinterest as Crochet Junkie, and on Ravelry I am Crochet Junkie with the number 6. I do have a podcast group, the Crochet Junkie Podcast. I'm not super active there. I do go check it to see if anybody's said anything or any of that, but I'm not diligent about writing things down once I've done the podcast. I rarely do show notes. If there's something that you want more information on, I'd be glad to tell you if you want to shoot me a note. Someone did last week. One of the patterns, I'll get out the work in progress, actually finished object here in a minute, and she messaged me asking about where she could find the pattern, and so that was, hi Missy, it was great talking to you this week. And I also wanted to mention, I didn't know her podcast last week, but I mentioned one of the podcasts. How many times can you say mention? I said one of the podcasts that I watched was going to do a knit along with the number 2 sock yarn, and this yarn is from Yarn Enabler, which I talked about but never showed her card. Yarn Enabler dyes yarn to look like pencils, so your sock looks like a number 2 pencil. When my 9-year-old Estrella saw those socks, she had to have them, so of course I ordered the yarn. And Love Sock Wool, she has a podcast and a podcast group on Ravelry, is going to do a knit along with these socks starting in September. And so I have the socks. I got some, I wanted to try 2 at a time socks, and so I have a set of needles coming with the longer cable, so I can try those, and I'm excited to do something new, since I've yet to do 2 at a time socks, and I'm doing a sock knit along, which will be fun. And I think that I can do a pair of socks in a month. I think the knit along's going on through September. It starts September 1st and ends the end of September. But she says also that you do not have to do the number 2 pencil sock yarn. You can do any back to school socks, and she wants you to tag back to school socks on Instagram with the hashtag, and you can do fall color socks or just whatever reminds you, just a pair of socks to wear back to school. I am doing the pencil socks because why not? I am so excited about doing these, and I know my 9-year-old is excited about getting them. She wanted me to have them done. Their first day of school was yesterday, and she wanted me to have them done yesterday, but I only got the yarn mid last week, and there was no way that I could knit that fast. I know there's some of you out there that could whip up a pair of socks that fast, but I'm a slow knitter. I am a very slow knitter, so if you want to join in on the knit along, that'd be so much fun. Love Sock Wool, again, is her podcast, and I really love watching her. She's a lot of fun to watch, and she also quilts, so she has tons of beautiful quilts that she's patched together, and yeah, I like her. I cannot remember her name for the life of me. I am terrible with names, whether it's on a podcast I watch or in real life. So, sorry about that if you're watching my podcast. So I mentioned yesterday was the first day of school. I have talked about being anxious about my 4-year-old Prudence starting school. She was dying to go to pre-K. That's all she's talked about since last Christmas when we went to the Christmas program and she saw the pre-Kers go up and sing their song. She's been dying to go to school, dying. All summer long, she just talked about how she couldn't wait, and it's going to be so much fun, and it's going to be so great. And last week, we spent the entire week getting ready, getting school clothes and school supplies, and packing her bags, and we went and met her teacher, and she was really eager. And then this weekend, we did some last-minute fun summer stuff. We went and took the girls to the water park, and I actually have a picture of us. So we went, and that's my husband, and my 9-year-old Atrella, my 4-year-old Prudence, and me and my husband. So we went to Hurricane Harbor, and we went and stayed in a hotel and had supper the night before. And then when we got up that morning, I had the girls put on their swimsuits, and they said, "Why are we putting on our swimsuits? Are we going to go swimming in the hotel pool?" And I said, "No, I don't think so, because the pool is having someone work on it or something. These are just the clothes I brought. I forgot to bring you clothes, but I have your swimsuits." So we didn't actually tell them we were taking them to the water park. And then when we pulled up in the driveway to the water park, my 9-year-old and 4-year-old both were just squealing, and their eyes got big, and they were really excited about that. And we went to supper at a place called P.F. Chang's, which is just Asian type restaurant. We haven't been there in so long, and it's really good. They have a bunch of different type of food. My favorite part was the dessert. I have a sweet tooth like no other. I joke. I got a cavity filled, and I had a gold tooth put in because that's my sweet tooth. Or there's a meme that says, "Which one's my sweet teeth?" Yes, that's right, all of them. I love sugar. I love sweet things. And this dessert that they had was kind of a fried pastry with this chocolate cream cheese on the inside with this dark raspberry sauce drizzled all over it, and I had a coffee, and that was the best part. And I was sad because we were so far from home. We did not get to take anything to go. You know, if you go out to eat, you know, our portions are ridiculous. It's always at least 2 meals for me when I go out to eat and order something. It's usually I get dinner and lunch out of it. Unfortunately, since we were so far away from home, I did not get to take my food to go, and it just kind of went to waste, which was sad. I was sad the next day when I got out, or we were at the water park the next day, but the following, yesterday, Monday, when I didn't have my leftovers to eat, it was kind of sad. But the girls started, I have my coffee, my mug today is, my husband actually bought me this one. For our anniversary this year, I wanted bed linen. I love new bedding. It's one of my favorite things. You spruce up. There's no quicker, easier way to update your room than to get new sheets and maybe a new duvet cover. So that's what he got me. And when we went to Bed Bath & Beyond, he also saw this mug and threw it in the buggy too, because he knows I love owl mugs. But yesterday was the first day of school. My girls did great. They're eager, studious little people. I walk them, we drive both the girls to and from school on the first day. But we live 20 miles from their school, so they ride the bus the rest of the year. We took them up there, and I walked them in, and Prudence went right into her class, sat down, put her little hands folded in front of her on the table, and was just smiling and looking around. And then I left her and went around the corner to go drop Petrella in her class. And, you know, same thing. She was so excited. She sat there. She's ready to learn. She's back at school. And I realized I'd forgotten to take Prudence's picture sitting at her table. So I went back to take her picture, and there was this little girl sitting right across from her, bawling her little heart out, clinging to her mother. There's no way I would have left my child if she would have acted that way. And as Prudence is still sitting there, staring, smiling, with their little hands all clasped together, just very excited to be there. And when we went and picked them up yesterday, they were just little chatterboxes all about their day. Prudence, who has not napped at home since she was 2 years old, I would say, yeah, since she was 2, unless we, have a super long day to where she passes out in the car because she was walking around the zoo or something. Those days, sure, she has a nap. Other than that, there's no napping for this child. So when I picked her up yesterday, I knew that they had nap time, and I asked her if she napped. She goes, "Oh yeah, I was so glad when the teacher told us it was nap time so I could lay down because I was tired." I just thought it was so cute. She was very excited that she got to play on the playground. She said she saw her sister at lunch, and she did really good eating her lunch. I was kind of concerned about her wanting to talk, and talking through lunch, but she said that she ran out of time to eat all of it, of course, but she did eat the important things. Like I sent my husband loves cooking, and he made crab balls as just a easy pop-in lunch thing. I would have to have him give you the recipe. I have no idea. I know he does crab and some crackers. I don't know. He just makes these tasty little crab balls and onions and all kinds of spices and stuff. They're really good. So I packed those in their lunch with some watermelon and some carrots and water and pretzels for Prudence and barbecue chips for Estrella, because that's what they like, different things. And then today they rode the bus this morning, and Prudence was very tired this morning. I think we're going to have to send her to bed a little bit earlier maybe. She wanted not to get up. It was still dark outside. Their bus comes pretty early, right before sunrise. They were getting on the bus. And she didn't understand why it was still dark. She said that she didn't want to go to school. She wanted to stay here and sleep. But then once she was up downstairs and dressed, she was very eager, singing, bebopping. Prudence is very much like me. When she's a morning person to the extent once she's awake, she's very excited and bright and cheery, but getting her to wake up is the hard part. Estrella, on the other hand, takes after my husband, and she drags in the morning. It's really hard to get her to move, to hustle, and she's just sleepy. It's funny to see how different they are from each other. So yesterday, after we dropped our girls off, my husband and I cleaned out his truck, and I found my hook that I mentioned buying, the tiny little hook to do the owlie socks, which I don't even know why I'm so excited about this, because it's not like I'm going to start them anytime soon. But I've definitely decided to use this speckled yarn, which is the Madeline Tosh Cotopaxi colorway, and it's their Twist Light. And these beads, okay, match so well. So I'm going to do the owlie socks. And I found the steel crochet hook, which is what I need to be able to bead these. And Andre Sue Knits, also Yarngasm. There are tons of people who have done tutorials on how to knit with beads. And you just sort of, it's so easy. Just YouTube it, and I'm sure you would find how to do it. I'm kind of more concerned about the cables, so I'll definitely do a practice swatch, maybe like a little dishcloth with some cables or something, just so I'm sure that I'm not going to jack it up, because I don't want to start socks and then them not turn out so well. But I'm sorry, I'm looking at my podcast notes, not progress notes. So I guess I will show you my whips right quick. No, not my whips. My finished objects. Did you all hear what I just said? Finished objects. That's right. Objects with an S. I have multiple things to show you. So I finished this hat, and this is the crocodile pixie hat. And you can find the pattern on, I don't know why that is folding up like that. We're going to have to block that out. This is the crocodile pixie hat. You can find it on Ravelry. I told you I did not know the pattern name last time, and Missy is the one who messaged me and asked me about it. So it's just like a bonnet style. So baby's head goes here, and that's the back, and it has this little point, and it's so cute. I wish I had a little baby to show you, but I do not. And the yarn I used is Red Heart Boutique Unforgettable in colorway Echo, and it's sort of gray and green and purple and charcoal. And I also made a blanket and finished a blanket to match. So, see if I can hold that up. So it's not overly big, I just did it kind of small, so it's more of a car seat blanket, just something, you know, to throw over the baby to keep her warm. And this is for our friend whose baby is due in just a few weeks. And I also made him, I showed on, I don't know what podcast it was, but I made a little chicken rattle for their baby. And so I finished both of these things. They're ready. I'm going to wrap them and send them home with him this week. So I'm pretty excited about having those done. And I also, Andy over at Andre Sue Knits and I did a project, or a mini swap. She sent me this project bag and all of these minis. And I did make 2 little things from the minis for my daughters. 2 little bunny nuggets. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. And it is so easy. It takes up such a small amount of yarn. I will show you. So Andy sent me these cute little mini skeins. That's the size of them. And I balled them up, or I balled up a few of them. Sorry, some of them kind of got loose in the bag. And I made minis. So this is a ball with nothing made from it, and that's how much yarn I used, because I can't tell you exactly. I'm just going to show you in ball form. So this takes up such a small, meaningless amount of yarn, and it was such a quick knit. I knit both of these in a day, and I'm going to attach little clips to the back for my daughter's backpacks. I mentioned on the last podcast that their school mascot is the jackrabbit, so I thought, what cuter little thing to have on your backpack than a bunny. And I let them pick the yarn, and then I named them. So Prudence picked the chocolate bunny, and I named him Toffee. And then Estrella chose the pink and white yarn, and I named this one Sherbert. And then she immediately said Sherbert Lemon. So little bunny nuggets, aren't those adorable? Their noses are not perfect. Don't look at mine. Don't look at my embroidery too closely. They're uneven and kind of jacked up, but my girls are so thrilled with them, and of course I couldn't let them have them for their backpacks until I showed you guys. So they'll be glad that they'll be able to put them on their backpacks. I still need to get the little pins for the backs, but I should be able to pick up those when I go to grocery shopping. So I just thought that was a really quick, fun knit, and I want to make some birds of happiness too. I bet that's another little scrap pattern that's free on Ravelry. I think I have that one printed out too. If I do, I can't find it, and I was going to show you a picture, but oh well. So those little bunnies, I finished those. So that is 1, 2, the hat and the blanket, 3, 4 projects that I finished this week. Aren't y'all proud of me? Because I'm really proud. That's pretty awesome. I also did another swap with a friend of mine, and she sent me some really cool minis. And she said that the dyer of these is actually Truly Hooked, and I've known Verdi from Truly Hooked for a few, and I say known, I mean spoken to her via the interwebs. For a few years now. I've really enjoyed following her and her yarn business that she has started, and I've ordered yarn from her a few times. So these are all from her, and I really loved these two especially. This one has purple and blue, and I cannot wait. I think this one's definitely going to be a bird of happiness. And this one, love it. Orange and pink and purple. It's just so happy. I'm thinking I'm going to do another little bunny nugget with this one for myself, to keep for myself, to pin to one of my project bags. And she also sent this adorable little chicken, which again, look at the color, that green. You can see this owl is the same color. I love avocado green. It's one of my favorite colors. But I just thought that was so cute and so sweet. Thank you so much, Ash. And I got a nice note from her too. So I really enjoyed swapping with you, and I hope you liked all of your stuff that I sent. I also, let me move these books off my notes. I have a project bag addiction, guys. I cannot stop buying project bags. How many project bags do you really need? Quite a few. That way, if you're bored with a certain pattern or print, you can switch, right? I'm not crazy, am I? Everyone out there has like a million project bags. Please let me justify this. So this is my new one. Isn't it amazing, you guys? It's like little Indian owls with their teepees and their arrows and their trees and their feathers. It's such a cute, like, camping project bag, and there's even some dream catchers. I love it. And she put on a little zipper pull that's a sheep. And this bag is from so-and-so. You so-and-so. Isn't that cute? Isn't that a cute name? And look at the fabric she put inside of it. Love it. I love it. And there's even a pocket on this side. It's so well made and so soft, and I love the shape. Like, it's kind of fat on the bottom, and I don't know, it's just amazing. And also, she packaged it, and look at thank you so much for your order. It's the little things, like I keep saying, it's the little things, and that little sticker really made this super special, even more special than it was. And then there's her little tag. You so and so. and it's got a sheet on the other side. Love this. It is so well made. I cannot recommend this bag maker enough. And I think that she has good prices too. In this bag, my new bag, I have my shawl. I put my shawl in here, even though it doesn't match this bag. It matches my alpaca bag much better, but it fits in this one. I have 2 skeins of yarn in here, and then my pattern, which is folded in half. But so I have not worked on this a lot. I've done maybe 2 or 3 pattern repeats, which is 8 rows, since I showed you guys this last time, which kind of bums me out because I really do want to have this done by stitches, which is mid-September, and it's the end of August right now. I probably won't have it done. I honestly probably won't. And part of the reason why, I'm trying to show you, I probably have another 2 to 3 inches to knit on the body, maybe more, I don't know, because I'm trying to make it a certain length. And part of the reason why I don't like this is the yarn I chose. I love the color. It's not showing up super well, but it's a dark, it's a dark tonal purple. It kind of looks blue to me on my screen right now, but I love it. I love the color, not the yarn. It's Malabrigo sock, which is 100% superwash. I talked about not really loving superwash on one of my past podcasts, and I don't love this, and that's why. It's because it's superwash yarn, and it just doesn't feel luxurious, and I don't want to waste my time knitting. When you're knitting an item, you want it to be, it's a luxury. It's a luxury to be able to go and buy yarn and make this from your hands, and everything that goes into it is a luxury. And when you're just, this yarn is not luxurious. It's fine, it's soft, it's next to skin soft, it's not scratchy. It's just not love. So, I don't know if I should just forget this and get new yarn to knit my Potter shawl with. Did I say that that's what this was, or did I just start yapping about it? Sorry guys. Potter shawl. Sorry about the glare. Try not to give away any of the pattern info. And so it's just a plain knit with an applied border that looks like little leaves. Okay? And I have Malabrigo Acro Isis for the border. And I love this, but it's still sock yarn, or 100% superwash Malabrigo sock yarn. So, I don't know. I'm going to stop talking about it because I don't love it. And I wanted to share something I'm excited with you guys about. Or excited about with you guys. I cannot talk today. But I will finish it. I will. Probably not by stitches. I hope by stitches, but who knows? Who knows? I've been trying to every couple of days say, okay, go ahead and do a whole row of repeats. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. And maybe by the time I get to the border, I'll fall back in love with it. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. Something else I've been working on that is in my llama project bag, because it's so big. My project, see, this is the size different. So, big bag is my sweater project. I mentioned I wanted to do the Crochet Noro V-neck pullover before I started my knit along with my group for the Rosemont. And I mentioned on a previous podcast, I showed you guys this, said that I needed to rip it out because my gauge was off. ripped it out, reballed the yarn. I've knit this probably, not the entire sweater, just pieces of it a couple of times. Started it, stopped, ripped it out. Started it, stopped, ripped it out. This is the third time. I guess that's not that bad. And I've got the whole front piece done. All done with the entire front piece. Yay! And that's the V. So you piece it together, it's seamed together. I'm going to do the back next, and then the arms. And so it's basically, yeah, and I did this pretty quickly because I wasn't monogamous on this at all. I've worked on my shawl and some socks too, and it works up really fast. I probably worked on this a total of a few hours, maybe like 3 or so, maybe more than that. It's just half double crochet, and then it has kind of a mock cabling there along the V, and also it has cabling along the sides where the hem would be. So, or where the seam, right above the seam, it's going to seam together here, and then this is where it's cabled is kind of open. I'll show you on the picture. So, see how it's open there, and it's got cabling along the V, along here at the bottom, and then it has cabling on the cuffs, and then the rest is just half double crochet. So it's a really easy pattern. And I'm using the yarn that the pattern asked for. I don't do that hardly ever, but I've found here lately it seems like I do that a lot more. So this is Neuro Yarn Silk Garden, which is 45% silk, 45% mohair, and 10% wool. And it's color 84. And like I said, that is the exact yarn that she is wearing too. And I thought it would be really kind of scratchy with the mohair, but it's not. It's pretty soft. It feels a lot scratchier in the skein than it does once it's crocheted up, and I think it will be even better once I get it washed and blocked. So I can wear it on my skin no problem, but I'm not too picky, and I do plan to wear a tank top under this because the way that it is designed is really, it's a plunging neckline, and you don't have to wear a tank top under it, but obviously it's best to. She's got a shirt on under it, see? So it's definitely a plunging neckline. But I love it. I love it so far. It's easy, and I'm looking forward to having it done by the time we have cold weather. I actually got this yarn last year for my birthday. It was part of, I make a pretty big birthday yarn purchase every year, and this was part of that yarn. And to have it to do again, I probably would not choose to use Neuro yarn. I'm not a fan. I also use Neuro for my festival dress, which you can see on my project page on Ravelry. Lucy's like right here. Sorry for the shaking and the snorting. Lucy. She's my Mastiff. I have 3 dogs, a Mastiff and a Black Mouse Cur, which is a medium dog. He's smaller than she is, and a tiny dog that I inherited. He's a rescue, a little rat terrier named Roger. Lucy, Bo, and Roger are my 3 dogs. So to have the sweater to do again, I would not use Neuro yarn. It's just not my favorite. there's a lot of vegetable matter in the yarn. It feels, the way they process it, it's just sort of like, I don't know, it seems like recycled fiber crammed into a spinning wheel, and, or not a spinning wheel because it's not spun like that, but you know, machine processed. It's just weird. The yarn's just weird, and it has tons of vegetable matter in it. It's just not something that I enjoy picking out when I'm trying to do a project. And it was a big hassle on my festival dress because that yarn is lace weight, and it was just, it would be, all the yarn would be knotted and messed up around vegetable matter, and I would have to take out huge chunks of that yarn and throw it away because I couldn't untangle it. And I wanted to talk a bit about yarn regret, or buying yarn and then later not liking what you falling in love with it at the store, and then getting home and saying, what in the heck was I thinking buying this? One time I did that. We went to New Orleans last year, which I've mentioned before. My husband and I went by ourselves just to celebrate his birthday for a long weekend. And whenever we travel, I always drag him to the yarn shop, the local yarn shop, so I can see what they have, so I can support local businesses. I like going to yarn shops in whatever excuse necessary, right? So one of the yarns that I got when I was in New Orleans was this orange yarn for this voodoo doll's hair. Now when I got this yarn, I thought it was so cool. And it's hand spun, but it is insane. And what in the heck was I going to make with this? Weird, thick, thin, not even yarn stuff. So I got home, and it was expensive too, of course, since it was hand spun. And I got home with it, and I was like, oh man, I could have like bought so many other things, and this is what I bought, and I couldn't figure out what to do with it. And I started looking. I don't even remember how I was inspired to do a voodoo doll, but somehow it came to me that it was perfect hair for a doll, and that I should do a voodoo doll for my daughter as sort of a souvenir of my trip for her, since they didn't get to go. We didn't take either of our daughters. And so I made this one for a Trella, and his mouth is kind of wonky and it's not perfect. And then Prudence wanted one too, of course. And I actually bought this yarn for this hair in Colorado at a yarn store. And again, I had the same problem. I actually made a cowl, a chunky, I could go get it right quick, but I'm not going to do that. A chunky cowl out of this yarn. It wasn't really a cowl, it's more like a collar. I crocheted, but then I had some left over and I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And so I thought, oh, I could do the hair. And look, I had the perfect yarn to match. And it works. Look at that. Voodoo dolls. So even though you have yarn in your stash that you might not like, try to take a second look at it, and maybe you can come up with something that you can use it for. But this is all stuck together. I took these off their bed. They love them. They've had them for about a year. They play with them all of the time, which is rare. And you see his head's kind of floppy, so he's not. I think it adds to the character, maybe, the charm of it. But yeah, look in your stash. If you have some yarn that you're just not in love with, maybe you can repurpose it into something else, or figure out a way to use it anyway. And another way that I'm doing that, I found yarn for my Rosemont. And by found, I mean from the stash. I bought this yarn last year when I bought the Neuro yarn for my sweater, and it was on sale, and I loved the color. And it's not showing up because it's bright green. So yeah, it's like a holly jolly, bright Christmas green, and it's sparkly. So you can see the sparkle. And it is 70% alpaca, 25% silk, 5% stellene. And it's Glisten Collage, which Webb's has this still on sale still, and I had 10 skeins in my stash, so a sweater quantity, even though it's only 91 yards, which is so skinny. It's such a small hank. So I needed some more to be able to knit the Rosemont, but only just a few more skeins versus buying a whole nother sweater quantity and leaving this lingering in the stash. So I decided to just go ahead and knit with this. The yarn that I chose originally for my Rosemont was alpaca, blue sky alpacas, which is 50% alpaca and 50% silk, and I loved the feel of that. And this is alpaca silk, and granted it's a different amount, percentage, but it still feels pretty much the same. It just doesn't have that extra sheen that the extra silk gave the blue sky alpacas yarn. And again, I'm knitting from the stash, which makes me happy because I am actively working on downsizing, because I want to add new yarn all the time, and it makes me feel guilty for having yarn that I once loved and then it's just lingering. Little Bobbins over on her podcast, she's mentioned she's doing a knit along for knitting from the stash, a purposeful stash along, I believe. And I'm not jumping on her knit along. I think it's pretty well underway, but just being mindful of trying to downsize and using what I have versus just buying all the time. So I've decided to use this for my Rosemont. And if you do not know what I mean by Rosemont, the pattern is on Ravelry, and my knitting group is going to start this knit along next week. The 1st of September, I'm thinking, is when we're beginning. And so I bought the book Home and Away, Knits for Everyday Adventures, and I really recommend it. I got it on Amazon. I think it was 18 bucks. I love Amazon Prime. I order stuff all the time anyway, and I always end up adding a book. Anytime I have to order something, I'm like, let me see what books they have. And I would knit, my rule, my self-imposed rule is I have to want to knit 3 things out of a pattern book before I do buy it. And not only would I knit 3 things out of this, but it has really good information. And I've talked about this on a previous podcast, so I won't go into it again. But I really, really, really recommend this book. And I've been chatting, and I realized how long it's getting, and I'm going to try to rush through now. I've also figured out my sock problem. This is my project bag from the same maker as my alpaca bag, which is a friend of mine from Knit Night. Mommy Sew is her Instagram, and I'm pretty sure her Instagram has a link to her Etsy shop where she sews stuff. And I got this sock blocker keychain off of Knit Picks, and I've yet to knit a sock for it. So I've mentioned last time how frustrated I was about my tension, and how I couldn't figure out the right needles to knit my socks on now that my tension has loosened up so much. And I had started a couple of times on the fleechy yarn and just couldn't get it right. I had some wooden hooks or needles, and I tried those, and I posted on my Instagram, I knit probably about 1 inch, 2 inches with wooden needles, and it was just so frustrating to have it drag and to have it catch, and just, I'm not a wooden needle user. I don't like them. But I did find tiny, I mentioned these last time, they were size 0, 2.0 millimeter DPNs. And I said last time that my hands hurt when I was using them. I tried them again, and they're fine. I did have to troubleshoot my cast on a couple of times, and I had some false starts, but I finally got it, and I think it's a 68 stitch cast on, and I used the old Norwegian cast on, so it's super boingy, stretchy, awesome. And what's really cool is when I started this sock with this yarn on some bigger needles, on the wooden ones, which were they're the Crystal Palace bamboo needles. I hate them so much. 1.5. And the reason I hate them so much is because, let me see if I can turn this. See those words? Those words are etched in, and they literally grab your yarn, and it just pulls it. I'm not a fan. A girl at Knit Night recommended these, and I'm going to give them to her and say, here, you can have my set, because she knits with them, and she loves them, and I can't do it. And so, yes, metal, these are the Cubics Platinas from Knit Pro, or Knit something. I don't know. Cubics for sure. They're Cubics, and I think this is the only company that makes the Cubics. But so when I did these, this yarn was pulling like crazy. All of the black was just in little blobs and chunks, and it didn't look attractive. I don't mind pulling necessarily, but on this, I wasn't a fan of how it was knitting up. And then when I switched to the small ones, look how amazing the color distribution is. It's perfect. It's perfect. And this yarn is from a local dyer, Rasin Stitchery. And I looked on her shop. She doesn't have anything listed. She is doing the yarn crawl with DFW, the DFW yarn crawl. She'll be at Jennings Street Yarn, which is a local yarn shop. But you can't get this yarn, I guess, online. So I'm sorry for showing it to you, but it's the Rasin Stitchery District 12 Harmony sock. District 12 is why I bought this yarn. I picked it up. I love the color. Saw the name. The name sold me. I'm a huge fan of Hunger Games, all movies really, but I love the Hunger Games. I love the books too. I read those, and yeah, that's all I got done, because again, I started these and ripped them out, and started these and ripped them out. So I was so frustrated because all I wanted to do was knit socks. I've been wanting to knit socks for 2 weeks now and couldn't figure out my needle situation. Since then, I have ordered more needles. I returned the Knit Picks Caspian and the Knit Picks Rainbow DPNs that I got and switched them out for some metal needles, and those should be coming to me soon. I also have a cabled set coming to me, so I can try 2 at a time. We'll see how that goes. Some new to me podcasts that I've been watching are The Cozy Crafter. She's adorable. Love her podcast. She knits and crochets and sews and even has an Etsy shop. And I've ordered a project bag from her. It will probably be here next week. Another new to me podcast is Knitting in the City. And she is in the Netherlands, I believe. Cozy Crafter is in Virginia. And then I want to say that Knitting in the City is in the Netherlands. That might not be right. But I love her podcast. She's very funny and enjoyable to watch. She's also a knitter, a crocheter, and she does some weaving too, which is interesting to see. And also, a hilarious freaking podcaster that is new to me is Wes Knits. Have you guys watched that guy? Because he's insane. I was watching him, and my husband came downstairs, and he immediately came over to my computer and was just shocked. And he's like, what in the world? What is this well, who is this guy? And it was just an enjoyable way to spend 10 minutes. His podcasts are really short too, and he's just super funny. But with my daughters in school now, I have tons more time, and I kind of don't really know what I'm going to do with myself. I've been cleaning like crazy. I don't know if you've been able to hear my dishwasher this whole time. Hopefully not. Sorry if so. But I got some books because I'm bored, and I don't want to be bored. I need stuff to do. When I went and got chicken feed last week, I saw this book, Made from Scratch, Discovering the Pleasures of a Handmade Life. And I do a lot of what's in this book already, like keeping chickens, knitting. It talks about spinning and gardening, and it's really more of a memoir, but it's hilarious. This person wrote part humorous memoir, part how-to manual, and wholly inspiring by slowing down and learning to produce her own food and occasional clothing item from start to finish. Running Rich uncovers alternatives not just for eating or a lifestyle, but also for finding joy. And one of the hilarious things is grow your own meal. I get cocky with my hose. So, I mean, she just has an entertaining style of writing. So if you're kind of into the handmade lifestyle, you can look this book up. I got it for cheap through my feed store, but you can probably find it on Amazon too. And I really do like it. She's got some good information in here. And there's also a few recipes, but one in particular I can't wait to try, on making your own butter. And it's so easy because you'll take whipping cream and put it in a jar and shake the jar. That's it. So I'm definitely going to do that, and I'll let you know how it goes. Made from Scratch. Love that book. Another book that I got that is blowing up across all of my friends, all of my people that I follow on Instagram, everybody and their mother is reading this book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And I love clutter. I love having all of my stuff around me and seeing it and having it near me, and it just helps me to have my stuff out so I can see it. But at the same time, it really overwhelms me that we have so much crap. And I say crap with love, I really do. But between my children, my husband, and myself, our house is always messy. It's always lived in. And I'm constantly cleaning and griping and saying, can't you clean up your stuff? And I just feel like we need to downsize. I've mentioned we're moving to a smaller house. My family is way too attached to most of their things. They think that we need, my husband for instance, I went through my closet first, which is what this book recommends, to start with your clothes. And I've done this a couple of times this year, gone through my closet. But with this book's help, it's like, if your item doesn't spark joy, if you really love this item, then you don't need it. And that's how I looked at my clothes. And then as soon as I was done with my clothes, that felt so amazing. I got rid of so much more stuff. I turned on the linens, okay? The linens. I didn't attack my husband's clothes. The linens. I started to put one blanket in the donation pile. My husband's like, oh, don't get rid of that. We have two of the same blanket. Do we really need it? He's like, it's a blanket. Why would we get rid of a blanket? So he's obviously not willing to let go as easily as I am. I'm going to have to pry a few things away from him, maybe when he's not looking, put it in the donation pile, like I'm doing with my kids. I'm kind of getting over the fact that I miss them so much with them starting back to school, and realizing how much time I have to be able to throw their things away before they get home and cry about it. And I buy things. I mean, my 4-year-old will paint one little scribble on something and think it's a masterpiece and want to save it forever and ever and ever. We can't do that. The great things I do save. and I'm going to show y'all some of them real quick. So my 4-year-old Prudence drew this yesterday at pre-K, and she said that those are her cats. We don't have cats. My husband's allergic, but Prudence has always loved cats. So these are her cats. And I thought that was really good for a 4-year-old, her little cat. Now, Etrella drew this. She's 9. A sad little frog stuck behind. I showed her this article that I was reading about drawing in between lines, and they had some really amazing ones, and ever since then she's been kind of practicing her hands at it. I thought, that's really good. I'm going to frame this and hang it. And another one that I loved that she did, and this is just a doodle on the back of that paper that she had written all over, just a doodle. It's kind of washed out. So it's a circus elephant. She actually drew this for Prudence because Prudence loves elephants. And a little circus guy. And he says, Daisy, the flying elephant. And I mean, I couldn't draw this good to save my life. Okay. So I'm pretty impressed with my daughters and their artistic ability. Crafty like mama. Proud. So proud. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you today. I say that's all, but that's a lot. I got another book. I won't bother showing you that because I haven't even opened it or read anything about it. But it's the, I'll show you. I said I wasn't going to show you, but Andre Sue recommended this book. She bought this book, Spinning Wool Beyond the Basics. And I haven't read it yet. I haven't had any reading time just yet, but I plan to later this week. I'm going to sit down with all my new books and read probably on Friday. So thanks so much for joining me this week. I hope that it was entertaining. Join me on the knit along, the back to school socks with Love Sock Wool. It would be a lot of fun to see more hashtags of the back to school socks, and I will probably start mine today. I think my long cable needle is coming today. I'll have to check tracking. So hopefully I can start some socks, even though I already have these started. I need to finish some stuff. No, I don't. I've decided I never have to finish anything. I can just start new things, and that's what I'll do. Bye, guys.